What an amazing victory for the LA Rams, staying on top of the NFC West over the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson might be in jeopardy of losing some time with a sprained finger. Geno Smith comes in. Beautiful touchdown pass to DK Metcalf proves, hey, if Russ needs to win or lose some time, playing time, first NFL start that he misses in his career, Seahawks, you'll be okay. Welcome to a brand new episode of Time2Football. My name is Hassan Khan, the host of this channel that we like to call Time2Football. Glad you guys can be joining us on this beautiful Friday morning. It's Friday. It's Friday. In the words of Rebecca Black, it's Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. Hey, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, make sure you guys subscribe and interact with us in the chat in the process as well. You guys are going ahead and leaving your comments. And I'm going to be acknowledging your comments throughout the duration of the show as well. We're going to have a whole segment dedicated to answering viewer questions because it's Fantasy Friday, my homies. It's Fantasy Friday. We talk about Fantasy Friday. We're going to talk about PredictionStrike, the stock market of the NFL, players that you need to buy, sell, and hold in the stock market where you can actually win money. Really cool concept. We're going to talk about PrizePicks, where you just take the overs and unders. Actually, as a matter of fact, yesterday I took the unders on Russell Wilson throwing for less than 24 completions and DK Metcalf getting less than 5.5 completions. He had 5 exactly. And then Matthew Stafford rushing for less than 5.5 yards. And those QB kneels helped out a lot. And I want some money just taking those bets. So I'm going to show you guys some overs and unders that you guys can take for the games coming up this Sunday and Monday so you guys can win some money as well. But first, we actually have a very special guest joining us, and I think as a matter of fact, there is it's a little bit of crossover because when I was checking my analytics, I saw that a lot of my viewers watch this guy. And so I checked him out, and I was like, oh, man, maybe I should give this guy a shot to just come out on this channel and just talk about fantasy football. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to bring in our special guest here today. His name is Gavin Southworth of Sizzle Fantasy Sports. Gavin, can you hear us?
Hey there, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic now that you're here joining us. Listen, I appreciate you taking the time to join us on this channel and just talk about fantasy football.
Hang on here. I'm having just a second getting the audio coming through right now.
It's all good. It's all good. You know, if you need to.
Sure. If it's cool with you, I'll get straight into my trade segment and I'll talk about my 6 players I've got total for today, my 3 buy lows and my 3 sell high candidates for this week. My first player up I've got this week is Laviska Shenault for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a player I'm going to look out and target this week. DJ Chark going down with an injury last Thursday night against the Cincinnati Bengals opens up an opportunity for more target share headed his direction. And I think that being the fact that he is the short down situation player for the Jags offense, he's going to give us the opportunity to have a safer fantasy floor than, say, a Marvin Jones, who is also a very viable fantasy option for us this season. But I think that added floor, because of the higher target share, gives us a better opportunity with Shenault. How about Darnell Mooney as well for a buy low candidate this week? For the Chicago Bears, now adding Justin Fields into this offense, that unlocks the deep level passing game for this football team. And it might not be something we see week over week on a super consistent basis. But if you're looking for a team in your flex needy position, Mooney will give you the upside you're looking for. And we saw him complete 4 passes on 4 targets to Mooney in the first quarter last week, had almost 100 yards receiving in that quarter. A very impressive player. He just needs more opportunities. And if that pass protection can hold up, he will have some really nice productive games. Calvin Ridley. Now, some players are probably getting a little bit frustrated with Ridley right now. I think that his ceiling hasn't quite been where it was at last year when he finished as a wide receiver 4 in fantasy. Now he's not suiting up this week or traveling with the team to London to play the New York Jets, but it's certainly a situation that I think the floor is there and we just have to be patient with him. There's going to be an opportunity since he's not playing this week to buy him for an even lower price. He's got 8 or more targets in every game this season. And in 3 of the 4 games, he's got 10 or more targets. He's only scored once this season. There's a lot of room for growth and development. I think that he should certainly be able to step up to the plate and get back to those numbers eventually. And now into the sell highs. I've got 2 receivers here, 1 running back. Adam Thielen is certainly someone I'm looking to move my hands off of. He has very inflated touchdown numbers, and in his 4 games this year, he's only got 50 or more receiving yards in just 1 performance. The other of those games, all the productivity is coming from touchdown receptions. We saw last week against the Browns, when he doesn't score that touchdown, we're in a risky situation. Only 5.5 fantasy points in half PPR scoring without that touchdown catch. Amari Cooper, another wide receiver I'm trying to sell high on right now, 16 targets week 1. Week 1 was fantastic. After that, he hasn't added up to and accumulated that many targets through the next 3 games. He's only got more than 5 targets in 1 performance this season. So you're talking about a Dallas offense right now that is extremely run-centric, and they're looking to pound the football with that 1-2 punch of Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. CeeDee Lamb's still there. You've got target competition. Dalton Schultz is getting a lot of looks right now. If you can move off of Amari Cooper, who's currently the wide receiver 16 and half PPR scoring, that is something I'd absolutely do. And then finally, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if you can move off of a running back right now who I don't have all that much trust for. I love the 100 yards rushing in the last 2 performances, but when his fantasy upside is predicated on receiving volume and he's only got 8 targets this year, that's not something I'm super excited about. And he's only got 6 carries in the red zone. This isn't goal line carries. This isn't carries within the 1 or 2 yard line. This is within the 20-yard line. So you're talking about a much greater array of space on that football field. Only 6 total touches in that area. That's something that I think is a bit concerning for fantasy owners.
I love it, man. I love it. I certainly agree with you on a lot of the fantasy football, buy low, sell highs. Calvin Ridley, you nailed it. Coming from a Falcons fan, I just watching a lot of Falcons games. I think it's just a matter of time before Calvin Ridley really does come in. And then Laviska Shenault, I actually, for you guys that use the Fab waiver wire method of picking up players, I actually coughed up a lot of money for Laviska. Someone dropped Laviska, and I made sure of that. But out of those players that you mentioned, so you just to recap, your buy lows in fantasy football: Laviska Shenault, Calvin Ridley, and who else was it? It was
Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney. Okay, Darnell Mooney. So who are you the most confident in out of all those people?
Well, clearly, I think that Calvin Ridley is the most upper echelon player for the wide receivers in that tier group or in those 3 players I mentioned. I think that he definitely has the best chance to finish as a top 12 option this year because of that great floor value he poses on a week-to-week basis. And while I love Shenault for that purpose as well, Calvin Ridley's a player with a proven track record and does have that top 5 wide receiver finish throughout his career, that obviously being last season, so very recent. I think that there's an adjustment curve happening right now with the Falcons offense without Julio Jones, and they need to get Kyle Pitts more involved to try and take some attention away from him. It's going to be a struggle bus for the Falcons this week without Russell Gage or Calvin Ridley out there, but that could potentially open up the door for a big Patterson game.
I like that a lot. And then out of the all sell highs that you have Amari Cooper, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and out of all these players, the 3 players that you mentioned, which one are you like, hey, this is the week that I need to try to get rid of this guy, otherwise it's way too late?
I think that best applies to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's coming off 2 good performances, whereas Adam Thielen had a down week last week. Now, Amari Cooper still has some salvageable value because he did score a touchdown in week 4. But with the back-to-back 100-yard rushing performances out of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and having 2 touchdowns on just so happened to be receptions out of the backfield, I think that this week against Buffalo, the competition gets a lot tougher. That Bills running defense is very, very good right now. And just all around, I think that Buffalo defense is going to do a number on this Kansas City run game. A down week for Clyde here in week 5 could potentially lower his stock back down and have owners panicking again. So if you've got the chance right now, that's something I'd pull the trigger on.
Love it, man. Love it. Hey, I appreciate you joining us for this episode of Time to Football. We got your YouTube channel on the bottom right now for the live stream, but where can everybody come find you? On social media, YouTube, wherever? Go ahead and plug yourself.
Yeah, so obviously I've got the YouTube channel, Sizzle Fantasy Sports. Go check that out. I've got tons of, on a daily basis, sometimes I'll post 2 or even 3 videos based on advice for that week, trade advice, lineup advice, waiver wire targets, all that good stuff. I've also got an Instagram, Sizzle Fantasy Sports, the same as the YouTube channel. I'm on Twitter as well. I'll tweet out some of my newest videos and some fantasy news in the football world. That's at Fantasy Sizzle. And then we've got an awesome website, sizzlefantasy.com, where you can check out all of our extra features.
Gavin, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. And that is Gavin Southworth of Sizzle Fantasy Sports. So, again, check him out on YouTube, Sizzle Fantasy Sports. Great content. Had the opportunity to check him out. A little bit of a delay right there with the technology, but hopefully you guys got the gist of it. 3 buys that you need to buy in on. Laviska Shenault obviously being one of them. I back that up. Calvin Ridley obviously as well, and Darnell Mooney. Just 3 underrated wide receivers right now. And then his sell highs as well, Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I 100% agree. So check them out. Great content. Now we're going to get into PredictionStrike, the stock market of the NFL. Hey, listen, have you signed up for this yet? Because it's actually very, very, very legit, and people have made some legit money off of it. I always go back to the example of me buying shares of TJ Hawkinson when he was just going for 73 cents, and then he took off to $2.11 a share. And I bought in like 30, 40 shares of this guy, and I made some decent money off of TJ Hawkinson. So that's what I'm going to help you out with today. Players that you need to buy, that you need to sell, and that you need to hold in the stock market of fantasy football. PredictionStrike. Let's first start off with a player that you need to buy. Had a little bit of a down week. That's okay. It's going to happen. But if you are not buying in on Mike Williams just yet, let me go ahead and convince you that you need to buy in on Mike Williams. Take advantage of the dip. Look at the analysis. Take advantage of the dip. Williams' first 3 games, they were not a fluke. We hyped this guy up in the offseason. We heard the offseason news that we've been following. Offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi loves Mike Williams. Came from New Orleans and wants to feature Mike Williams in that X receiver spot. Mike Williams is going to continue to get production, and he's going a little bit down, $5.62 a share, down 15%. So I would go ahead and take advantage of that. Buy the dip while you can. Buy in on Mike Williams on PredictionStrike and watch your portfolio grow. Next up is another wide receiver that we wanted to mention that you need to take advantage of the dip of, and that is the very talented CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys. $4.32 a share, down 15% as well. Same as Mike Williams. Same analysis pretty much. Take advantage of the dip. Lamb is too talented not to bounce back. Potential wide receiver 1 by season's end. Now, that could be in Dallas, or it could be just in general in fantasy football. He's going to be a wide receiver 1. Last 2 games, yeah, they've been featuring Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard more. That's okay. Take advantage of CeeDee Lamb. You got to buy in on Lamb. The last player, for the people that just look at stats and don't watch a player play, I'm here to help you, because just from watching this player play, you need to invest in this player for the long run, and that is Javonte Williams of the Denver Broncos. $4.50 a share, so he's taking a little bit of a dip, and he actually might take a little bit of more of a dip against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It could happen. I don't expect a big output against the Steelers, at least not for Melvin Gordon, but take advantage of the dip. That's a theme right now. Those that watch Williams know that a breakout is coming. He's going to take over eventually as the running back 1 in Denver. He's already getting more snaps, it seems like, than Melvin Gordon. Looking more impressive than Melvin Gordon. Javonte Williams is a player that you need to buy. Now, players that you need to sell, absolutely get rid of these people right now because they've already reached their ceiling. First off, Jared Cook. For the long run, nah, I don't want anything to do with Jared Cook. He's going for $8.01 a share right now, up 22%. Cook reached the ceiling last week with that touchdown against the Raiders. He's unlikely to replicate that same kind of performance. I mean, the first 4 weeks of the season tell us everything that we need to know, pretty much, that how a player is going to perform for the rest of the season. Jared Cook looks like he's going to be inconsistent at times. You want to sell high on him because he's a veteran player. This could be his last season playing in the NFL. Who knows? But there's just not a lot of optimism moving on. So why would you want to invest in Jared Cook, who's a little bit older and already reached the ceiling, already expensive? Sell if you have Jared Cook. Make some money right now. I actually have a share of Jared Cook. I plan on selling that. Get $8 out of that. Next player that you want to sell. Not too optimistic on him because of his injury issues. Will Fuller, $4.88 a share, down 50%. He was placed on IR because of a broken finger. His price will drop as weeks pass. Now, it's not going to drop because he's injured. That's not how PredictionStrike works per se. It's going to drop because people are going to sell him because he's injured. People are like, man, I don't want anything to do with Will Fuller anymore. I'm going to go ahead and sell this guy. He has no value until Tua Tagovailoa returns. In that case, yeah, maybe he could pop off and be the wide receiver one in Miami, but I'm not banking on it. I'm going to go ahead and sell Will Fuller. It's not worth the hassle right now to deal with Will Fuller if I own stock in him. Now, this is another player that you need to take advantage of after another big week this past Thursday. How about CJ Uzomah from North Gwinnett High School? Shout out Gwinnett County. $4.36 a share, up 100% after his 2-touchdown performance. That's $2.20 a share. That's the most expensive that he's ever going to get. Ever. Uzomah reached his ceiling last week. Unlikely to replicate performance. Dude, same. I just copied and pasted the same analysis from Jared Cook. Because it just applies. The same applies. It's going to be Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. They're going to get the main looks from Joe Burrow. CJ Uzomah is just a lost cause. 2 touchdowns, cool. That's awesome. Nah. Even if you added him in fantasy football, drop him. Not worth it. Now, if he does the same thing for like 2 straight weeks, then I'm going to be a believer, but I don't think it's going to happen. Now, a player that you need to hold that some people are like, should I hold this player? Should I get rid of this player? Let me go ahead and convince you that DeAndre Swift is going to be a top 10 running back by season's end. So, yes, he's going for $6.10 a share. That's down 12% after his down week against Chicago. But look at the analysis. He's a top 10 fantasy running back, even with the bad game last week. In half PPR, he's top 8. Fantasy points per touch is what you need to look at. Okay, we talked about this with Mac Jones, why he's not going to have a good performance against the Houston Texans, because fantasy points per touch is what matters. Antonio Gibson, why people don't need to freak out about him is because fantasy points per touch, even though if he just got 5 more touches, Antonio Gibson did, he'd be fine. And the same thing with DeAndre Swift. Fantasy points per touch matters. And he's split in time with Jamal Williams, and he's still a top 10 fantasy running back. Guys, that's a player that you want to hold. Because eventually by season's end, he could get more work than Jamal Williams. It's bound to happen. So those are the players that you need to buy, players that you need to sell, and players that you need to hold via PredictionStrike. Click the link in the description, sign up, start playing, and use the promo code T2F. You get a free share of a random player. I get a free share of a random player. Well worth it. If you don't like that player, sell them. You get free money out of that. Sign up, start playing here today. Another sponsor that we wanted to talk about, PrizePicks. I'm a huge fan of PrizePicks. I mentioned on the top of the show that I won some money over the last couple of weeks. And actually, as a matter of fact, yesterday, just betting on that Seahawks-Rams game. I'm winning legitimate money. On air, just a couple weeks ago, I won $100. So I'm not BSing anyone on this. So I'm going to show you my picks live. But I'm going to tell you 3 players that you need to buy or pick the under on, and 3 players that you need to pick the over on via the projections on PrizePicks. So let's first start off with players that you need to take the under on, because I feel like PrizePicks is just overvaluing them just a little bit too much. And the first player that comes to my mind would be Jared Goff. His projection right now is 18 fantasy points this week. I don't think that is necessarily going to happen for Jared Goff, because the only player that has put up over 18 fantasy points against the opponent is Kyler Murray. So given that Jared Goff is, part of a questionable offense, yeah, they're going to be passing the ball a lot. Maybe they'll be down by a little bit of a margin, but I don't think that necessarily Jared Goff is a player that you want to invest too much stock in against the Minnesota Vikings. 75% confident that he doesn't reach 18 fantasy points against the Vikings this week. Again, Kyler Murray is the only player in 4 weeks that has put up over 18 fantasy points, and that's because it's freaking Kyler Murray. So take the under on Jared Goff this week on PrizePicks. Not going to reach 18 fantasy points. The next player who's been killing it, Vanilla Vic, as they may want to call him, Sam Darnold. 20.5 fantasy points is his projection against the Philadelphia Eagles. I would take the under on that. I don't think he's going to reach that. The reason is because I looked deep into the numbers of Sam Darnold. His rushing numbers inflated his fantasy football numbers. So that's why he's rated a little bit too high on PrizePicks. I do have him a start. And when I say he's a start, maybe he'll reach 17, 18, maybe 19 fantasy points even. But he's only scored 20.5 fantasy points in one game. One game this season if you converted those rushing touchdowns to passing touchdowns. We all know rushing touchdowns is hard for a quarterback to get, especially one that hasn't had that sustainable floor yet as a rusher like Sam Darnold. That's why I'll take the under on that. Again, convert those passing touchdowns or those rushing touchdowns. Convert those rushing touchdowns to passing touchdowns. Hasn't scored over 20.5 fantasy points in just 3 games. Scored in just 1 game. 3 games without it. I'm 65% confident because Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold. Could surprise us, but I'll take the under on that. Next player that you want to take the under on, how about Trevor Lawrence? Maybe his numbers are a little bit inflated as well after that rushing touchdown against the Cincinnati Bengals. 18.5 fantasy points on PrizePicks. Nah, not going to happen. Not going to happen. I mean, last week, yes, good output, 17.7 fantasy points, however much it was. 18.5 this week against the Tennessee Titans. Nah. He's going to have to pass it a lot, and he's already without DJ Chark. So I don't expect Trevor Lawrence to really top 18.5 unless he were to get a rushing touchdown again, and that's very hard to do. I'm 70% confident that you can take the under on that. So those are the players that you want to take the under on. Now let's talk about players that you want to take the over on via PrizePicks. The first player that comes to my mind is a very underrated wide receiver that's been killing it. That is Hunter Renfrow, projected 11.5 PPR fantasy points. That is a very, very telling sign. Very important, by the way, that Hunter Renfrow is averaging 5.5 receptions a game. Okay, so let's say he averages 5.5 receptions a game. That's 5.5 fantasy points, right? He just needs, at that point, 60 more yards to reach 11.5. Hey, if he gets a tutty, he only needs 1 yard and a touchdown, and he tops that. So the odds are there for Hunter Renfrow. Now, I'm only 60% confident because I'm still trying to get a feel of Hunter Renfrow, but I'm there. I'm right there, and I'm starting to become a believer in Hunter Renfrow that he's going to be an every week flex play moving forward. If you're in 12-team leagues or moving forward or higher than that. So, Hunter Renfrow, player that you need to take the over on, number 1. Player that you need to take the over on, number 2. How about Kadarius Toney? Now, Toney filled in for Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton, and that seems to be the case this week again. So monitor the status. Friday is a telling sign whether they're going to be practicing or not. And I think that you should be taking the over, though. 7.5 fantasy points is not that hard. 9 targets last week, 6 receptions. That in itself. 6 receptions, just needs 15 yards. 3 receptions? Oh, okay. Needs 45 yards to reach that 7.5 fantasy points. I'm 75% confident that he's going to be a target for Daniel Jones, along Kenny Golladay, and what could be a pass-heavy game playing from behind against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the last player that you want to take the over on via PrizePicks, you can also talk about stat projections on PrizePicks as well. How about Laviska Shenault? He's projected 2.5 rushing yards. Rushing yards! I'm taking the over on that. I'm taking the over. A team that just lost DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault proved last week that, hey, he's a good player, and he's going to be the number 1 target for Trevor Lawrence in the passing game. Yes, but they're going to utilize him more to make up for the loss of DJ Chark, and that could come in the run game, who Laviska Shenault has had 1 rush every game except 1, where he had 0 rushes. But, I mean, 1 rush, you just got to hope that he gets 3 yards out of that 1 rush. I'm going to go ahead and take the over on that, and I think that's going to happen. If he gets 2 carries, hey, the more the merrier. That increases your chances. So those are some players that you need to buy or take the over on and take the under on via PrizePicks. Now, what I'm going to do is show you guys that I'm not BSing. Is I'm actually going to take go to PrizePicks.com and take the overs and unders that I just showed you. So let me pull up my computer here real quick. All right. So I got it pulled up right here. PrizePicks. Okay. So who did we talk about? We talked about Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, Trevor Lawrence taking the unders, Hunter Renfrow, Kadarius Toney, and Laviska Shenault. So I'm actually going to go here to Fantasy Score, and I am going to let's go ahead and take the unders on those quarterbacks. So we got Trevor Lawrence, Sam Darnold, and Jared Goff. Jared Goff right here. Sam. Where you at? We also got Trevor Lawrence. Be on the lookout for him. Sam right here. Right. Okay. Well, let's look for Trevor with his beautiful locks. All right. Under. Now, I'm going to put myself in the corner as well, so you know that I'm doing this live. You can put up to 5 players in one little bet. And if you get one wrong on the 5 players, you still win double your money that you put in. So get 4 out of 5 correct, you double your money. Well worth it. But if you get all 5 correct, then you 10 times your money, which is, well, even more worth it. Now let's talk about, okay, so we got Hunter Renfrow, Kadarius Toney, and Laviska Shenault. I'm going to go here to single stat projections, go to rushing yards. And I'm going to pick Laviska Shenault. I think that he's going to get over 2.5 yards. I'm 85% confident, so I'm going to pick the over on that. And now, since I'm going to pick 5, I'm going to have to choose between Kadarius Toney and Hunter Renfrow. I will actually go with Kadarius Toney because I think that Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton are going to miss this game. So, again, I always put in $10 for a chance to win 100. That's it. Place entry. Boom. Done. Easy. Just like that. Use the promo code T2F. Click the link in the description, and they match your deposit. Sign up today. Start playing, and you can win some serious cash. Now, on to the best part of the show. Fan questions. I've been ignoring you guys in the live chats all day long, but I'm here to answer the questions that you guys have been leaving. All right. What do we got? Miguel, good morning, dude. Hope you're doing well. Always a good day when you start with a T2F live stream. Yes, sir. Jeff Fields, I appreciate you joining in. Thank you. Uzi, yo, how you doing, bro? Hey, I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. I'm still feeling a little bit underneath the weather. Again, I don't have COVID. We proved that on air, but got a little bit of the sniffles. I think it's allergies, maybe. You're almost at 20K. Keep up the great work. Hey, thank you, Jeff. People like you tuning in. I appreciate that. You guys are responsible for subscribing and being a big supporter, so thanks so much. Miguel, should I drop Chuba Hubbard and add Malcolm Brown at this moment? Are you a Christian McCaffrey? I think you are a Christian McCaffrey owner from when we talked. No. I think you should keep Chuba Hubbard. If you're desperate, sure. You need to start Malcolm Brown. I mean, that's not the best play, but if you're desperate, sure. But we've seen Christian McCaffrey over the last couple of years get hurt, and I would not take that risk anymore. So, Chuba Hubbard is a guy that I would own. Bobby, Crowder or Renfrow as wide receiver 2? I'm still going to take Renfrow. He's just proven. Listen, 5.5 receptions a game. That's all I need to know. James Crowder, yeah, I like him as an up-and-comer, and should he be an ad? Yeah. But let me just see how the Jets' offense works a little bit more before I want to invest in James Crowder over Hunter Renfrow. I already know that Hunter Renfrow is going to be solid. Mule, good morning. Love watching your videos. Appreciate it, man. Antonio Brown or Jacoby Myers is from TJ. Are you PPR, Jacoby? I think this is going to be a down game for Antonio Brown because they're not going to have to pass the ball a lot. It's going to be Leonard Fournette. I think that's going to be featured in this game a lot against the Miami Dolphins, who rushed it for 20 times last week against the New England Patriots. Hey, man, I mean, I would invest in the run game for the Buccaneers and not really the pass game. So Jacoby Myers would be the guy that I'd want to feature. Ice Cold Jones, doing a trade for Ayuk to get Pittman. Is that a good trade? You get rid of Ayuk to get Pittman? Oh, man. My mind is telling me no, but the stats are telling me yes. So, yes. Michael Pittman is wide receiver 1 in in Indy, and I would buy in on him. Octavio, good morning, everyone. Thanks for the videos. Hey, appreciate it, Octavio. Good morning. Your thoughts on trading Kittles, Skittles, for Cordero Patterson in need of a running back that's consistent. Have Knox as my other tight end. If you need a running back that's consistent, George Kittle is a big name value. I would not. No. If you need to sell George Kittle, sell him for maybe the values of Joe Mixon is down right now and David Montgomery is down. If you can wait 4 to 5 weeks at least. Running back twos, Chase Edmonds. Oh my gosh, I love Chase Edmonds. He may not play this week, but if you could sell George Kittle like a top tier tight end to someone for like Chase Edmonds, do it. It'll help your case. Cordero Patterson, I don't know if he's going to be consistent. I really don't. I want to see one more game out of Cordero Patterson before I make the official decision. Yes, buy in on Cordero Patterson. Really not playing. This is from Sark Artist. So I need to decide on CeeDee Lamb or Keenan Allen. I'm going to go Keenan, man. I'm going to go Keenan. People are down on him because he had, 7 receptions for 36 yards? 36 yards, not a lot, dude. 11 targets. 11 targets. Buy in on Keenan Allen. Over CeeDee Lamb, who had like 5 targets last week. I would do that. Hines or Pirine? PPR. This is from Raphael. Yeah. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to get featured more, so I would go with Pirine. But if it's PPR, though, you know what? I'm gonna say Hines. I don't think Pirine's going to get featured in the pass game. I think this is going to be more of a Chris Evans kind of game. I would say Hines. Going with it. Jeremy, half PPR. Should I trade Mike Williams and Carson for Kelsey and either CEH or Hunt? My wide receivers are DK, Amari, Claypool, AJ Green, and Landry, and my other RBs are Cool. Cook? I'm assuming you said Cook. They could be cool as well. Javonte Williams is cool. Moss and Gainwell. Okay, so you need an RB until Javonte Williams were to break out. Chris Carson, yeah, that's the neck issue is just not promising. But CEH, I mean, we just talked on the top of the show how he could be a sell high, and I agree with that. Gavin agrees with that. I agree with that. But then Hunt as well. Do you need a tight end? If you need a tight end, yeah, do it. I do it for Hunt. I do it for Hunt over Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't think this string of games, the 2 games that CEH had, is going to be sustainable. So I do it for Hunt, for Kelsey and Hunt. Who do you like better? This from Rob Navarro this week. Darnold or Tannehill in PPR? I'm going to go with Tannehill. Ride with him. Rob Dale. PPR. Aloha, by the way. Should I trade Devontae Adams for CEH and Mike Evans? For CEH and Mike Evans. I have Mike Williams, Galladay, AJ Brown, JT, CMC, Hubbard, Zach Moss, Jeff Wilson. Okay. I'm looking at your running backs. You seem to be fine at running backs. No. I'd keep Devontae Adams. Like Devontae, wide receiver 1. Who's wide receiver 2? Tyreek Hill? Might be someone else. But it's Devontae Adams and then Tyreek Hill. Like, he's Adams in a league of his own. Don't do it. Edgar, sup, man? Good morning. Have a question. Hubbard or Marvin Jones? Hubbard seems to be not the case this week. I think CMC is going to be playing, so Marvin Jones. If CMC can't go, then I would go with Chuba Hubbard. What value do you think I could get for Juju? This is from the Minor 69er. Gosh, dude. Classic name. I love that. What value do you think I could get for Juju? Let's go ahead and, by the way, let's just show. So you guys that are popping in can know that, hey, you can ask your fan questions. Man. For Juju Smith-Schuster, he's more like a wide receiver 3 at this point. I mean, it's going to be tough, but I would say an up-and-coming running back, maybe like Kenneth Gainwell, would be good. Someone that just got added like Samaje Perine. If you need a temporary back for like the next week or 2, could be good. But Juju's trade value is a little low right now. So, I mean, if you need a tight end, maybe Dalton Schultz, Mike Gesicki, those might be some good targets. Renfro, Moss, or Allen Flex? Just from Dylan. Is it PPR? PPR, Renfro, non-PPR, Moss. Knox or Kittle? Kittle from Alpha. Lewis, good morning. PPR, trade Kittle for... Oh, yeah, I already answered this. And then Alpha, I already answered that question as well. Knox or Kittle, full PPR? Yeah, it's got to be Kittle. Like the channel, keep it going. Appreciate it, man. Sarkar Artist, I was thinking CD because of the Browns wide receiver defense versus Giants wide receiver defense. You know, I'm still going to go with Keenan, dude. I'm still going with Keenan. CD, it's a toss-up. Is it going to be Amari Cooper? Is it going to be CD? Is it going to be Cedric Wilson? Dalton Schultz? I'd go Allen, dude. This from Off the Top. Did you do the Archie Manning interview, bro? Not yet. So I'm doing that this upcoming week. I am flying out Wednesday morning, interviewing him Wednesday, and then he's playing a game on Thursday night for some reason. So I'm going to be working that game, and then Friday morning I'm flying out. So I think Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday there will be no live shows, but Arch Manning interview is coming up next week. Be on the lookout for that. Andres, you ask, or Sean says, "Hey Hassan, thanks for the hard work. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that." Oh, we are going way over. I'll go ahead and finish this out just because there's not a lot left. Pittman, Brandon Cooks, or Sutton if Teddy plays. If Teddy plays, Sutton is still a sit, dude. Brandon Cooks, man. Brandon Cooks. Half PPR, Brandon Cooks. Daniel Orton, I started Matt Stafford over Dak. Did I make a mistake? I mean, I guess there's only one way to find out, see how Dak plays. I personally would have started Dak, but I don't think Matt Stafford had too terrible of a game. He didn't have a terrible game. I mean, he threw for almost 400 yards. Don't worry about it, dude. You're fine. Ishan, need 2 wide receivers to start. Boyd, Corey Davis, Mooney, or Beasley. I'd go with Corey Davis. I still want to feel out Mooney. Beasley's role is diminishing with Emmanuel Sanders there. I trust Mooney. I don't trust the Bears' offense just yet, so I'm going to go with Boyd on that. Octavio, best floor, Mike Evans or DeAndre Hopkins? DeAndre Hopkins. The minor 69er, you think Waddle could be a play this week? I'm in a tough spot in my 14-man league. Oh, in 14-man? Yeah, sure. Lost Monte and have to choose between Waddle or Juju this week. Also, Gaskin just died or something like that. Yeah, I don't know what he did to Brian Flores, his wife, but Gaskin is just not, I don't know, dude. But, yeah, so if you need to start Waddle just because of the insane amount of targets that he's getting with Will Fuller hurt, yeah, go with that. I mean, Pittsburgh's offense against Denver, I don't know, dude. Chase Claypool is back. Deontay Johnson is back as well. Yeah, I would go with Waddle. Okay, last one. Then I got to sign off here for real. Brian Skillicorn. Pick 3, Dalvin Cook, Latavius Murray, James Conner, Trey Sermon, Antonio Gibson, standard league. Oh, man. If you need to ask questions about Dalvin Cook, I mean, hey, Dalvin Cook, dude. Dalvin Cook. Would be 1. And then 2 would be Antonio Gibson. That's what I would do. Off the top, sure, why not? I'll answer one more. Josh Jacobs, CMC, Damian Williams, Chuba Hubbard. Need 2 to start. CMC and Damian Williams would be my choices. And that is going to be wrapping up our episode of Time2Football. Hey, we appreciate you guys joining us for this wonderful, marvelous Friday morning. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Been watching this channel for a while. Appreciate it, the minor 69er. And make sure you guys are subscribed as well. And tune in for these live chats and these live shows every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 10:30-ish Eastern Standard Time. I've been running late for a while. That's okay. Hey, Sundays, I'm going to do a live fantasy football Q&A. Make sure you're tuned for that, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in for that. Ask your fantasy questions. See you Sunday.